Hi, I'm Sonia Vise, and we're sitting with Erin Connelly. She's running for the Common Pleas Judge. And just gonna sit here and see what's happening. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Sonia.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So how's everything going?
It's good. It's very busy right now. Keeping very, very busy between the campaign and still working full time. So
okay.
A lot going on.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
do. And this will be the second time around for you. So
Yes.
what does that feel like?
It's exciting. I ran in 2015, came very close to winning in the general election. So here I am back in 2019. I'm very excited and I'm ready. I'm really ready.
Good for you. Okay, well, we'll start off with a few questions.
Okay.
So people who, I'm sure everybody probably already knows you, but for those who might not, let's just say, why are you running for judge?
Well, I've been in the courtroom for 17 years. I've been a prosecutor in the district attorney's office. So my job every day is to go into court in one capacity or another to help individuals in the community. I have a passion for the courtroom. I have a passion for the justice system. And I think when our system works, it really is just fascinating to see. People come into court, with the exception of adoptions, because something bad has happened to them. They come into court on their worst days. So to be able to help people, show them a system that is fair and equal to everybody is really important to me.
Wonderful. Okay, and what makes you more qualified than all the other candidates who are running?
As I said, I've been in the district attorney's office here in Erie as a prosecutor for 17 years now, and spent my entire career in the courtroom helping people. And my job requires me to kind of look at all the factors in a case. I don't just represent one client. I've never done that. I look at the whole big picture, and I have to take into account what's in the best interest of the individuals charged with an offense, of the people that have been victimized by somebody, and the community itself. So I make those decisions on a daily basis, not just for one client, but for Erie County in general, to decide who are the violent offenders that we need protected from, who can we assist or help, and how can we get closure for the victims in these cases. So I have that experience, as well as having conducted a lot of trials. I've prosecuted 27 murder cases to date, several felony cases. I don't even have a number of cases I've prosecuted. Well over 150 of those have been trials in front of juries. So I have that experience directly in the courtroom, which makes me ready to start the job from day one.
Wow, you start off running 17 years, that's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. It's a real long time. It went very quick.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing anything else, or is this where you feel that you want to just run the rest of your career out?
Yeah, it's kind of strange because when I started right out of law school in the district attorney's office, and that would have been in 2003, and I kind of thought, I'm going to do this for a little bit. The pay's never been that great. I think it's probably better for starting attorneys now than it was 17 years ago. But I thought, I'm going to try this. I'm going to get some trial experience under my belt and then move on from there. And I just truly fell in love with the job. I enjoyed working with people, helping people, and I like that my ultimate goal is justice. I don't go in, my goal is not to prosecute somebody and lock them up. My goal is to go into court and seek justice for individuals.
Wow. Wow. Okay, and what cases has had the biggest impact on your career, and what were they most important?
It's hard to say. I've done so many cases, and they all have an impact in one way or another. As I said, I've prosecuted 27 murder cases, the most recent ones being the death of Alicia Stahlheim and Amanda Grazioli. Those were both domestic violence homicides that I prosecuted this year, since January of this year. And those obviously had a huge impact. You have two young girls that lost their lives at a very young age, without any kind of warning signs. We see a lot of warning signs in domestic violence, and we didn't see those there. And in hindsight, we're able to look back on those cases and say maybe there were some things we see now that nobody could have caught at the time. So those had a huge impact. I've prosecuted numerous sexual offenses. I had a woman who was mentally handicapped that had a hard time. She was violently sexually assaulted, and she had a hard time in court, and I had to keep kind of going back out to get her. We took a break. We'd go in the bathroom, try and gain her composure, but she was scared, and we ended up doing her testimony with her chair on the floor in front of the jury, and I sat on the floor with her so that we could get through that testimony. So there's just so many different things like that that I've learned and have impacted me over the years.
And being a woman, obviously we have to talk about that. Do you ever feel like your emotions are you ever overcome by emotions at the end of a day? Is it exhausting?
It is exhausting. It's so rewarding too that I think it just has a way of balancing itself out. I mean, over the years, I've certainly seen the worst things that have happened in our county. From a lot of instances from the day they occurred, I've had to be on scene with homicides. I've had to attend autopsies. It's been part of my job over the years and deal with families that are just heartbroken because of loss. But I've also had the opportunity to work with victims of sexual assault and other violent offenses and watch them not just come through what has happened to them, but thrive afterwards and, you know, kind of regain their life for themselves. And so the reward, I think, outweighs the emotional impact every day. It's hard, but it's like any other job. You just do it.
Wow, I can imagine. So, it could be so emotional.
It can.
But,
it can.
I mean, you're only human, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Why have you decided to remain a public servant instead of a private practice? Like, why?
Yeah, it just goes back to, again, not for the money, I can assure you of that. It just goes back to, I just enjoy helping people, and I get to help whoever comes to me. It doesn't matter how much money they have, how little money they have, their color, their race, anything. Anyone that's been a victim of a crime is someone that I'm going to help. And I like that. I like the fact that I don't have to say, here's how much I'm going to charge you. I work for Erie County. I work for this justice system. I don't work for individual people, so I can help anyone that needs it. And that's just become, again, such a huge reward in my career, and I wouldn't change it.
Aw, that's very sweet. Okay, and I have to ask, like, what is the biggest issue facing the criminal justice system in Erie County?
I think there's so many, and it kind of circles around. We go through just periods of where we see a lot of overdose deaths, and we see we're seeing a lot of drug dealers that have provided the overdose drug. That has become a big issue in Erie County. The different drugs cycle through. We go through phases of methamphetamine, heroin mixed with fentanyl. I think we're now seeing more methamphetamine. So the different crimes and issues facing the justice system cycle through. Last year was a huge domestic violence homicide year for us. A couple years ago, we were dealing with the gang wars back and forth before Unified Erie's inception. So it just depends. It cycles through, and we see things over and over again.
Wow. Wow. So do you feel like with the domestic violence, and this being October Domestic Violence Month, how are the victims' families, like, once you get the criminal prosecuted, and do you stay in touch with them, or is it strictly professional? Like, how does that work?
No,
afterwards?
I stay in touch with a lot of victims' families. I've stayed in touch with a lot of homicide victims' families, as well as a lot of rape or assault victims themselves. I just have maintained that contact. You just get to know somebody, and you spend a lot of time with them, especially when a case goes to trial and you're in court. And with sexual assault victims, you have to know almost every intimate detail of their life to be able to prosecute their case. So you develop a trust. They have to trust you. You have to trust them to be able to go into court and get justice for them. And so we remain close. The homicide, the victim's family in homicide cases as well. Those trials go about a week, and we spend every day together in the courtroom and discussing the case outside the courtroom just during the time of trial, and that doesn't include, beforehand. So we stay in contact. Most of them I stay in contact with.
Wow. And how do you gain their trust? Like, do they come in victimized and they trust you right away? Or
No,
what do you do?
no, it's a process.
Yeah.
It takes some time. It usually just is a lot of meeting with victims, meeting with people, even witnesses, just to gain their trust. To get them in the courtroom and let them know that that's a safe place for them, that they can come in there and tell their story and they're going to be heard. And I always tell them, we might not win this case. It's 50-50 whenever we go in front of a jury. We might not win the case, but they just need, I feel like, the opportunity to have a chance to be heard, and that's all they need in a lot of cases.
Wow. Okay, next question. Why is it important to have a judge on the bench with prior courtroom or experience?
It's so important to have a judge on the bench with prior courtroom experience because that's a judge's role. A judge is the one that calls the balls and strikes essentially in the courtroom. So if you have a jury trial, they're going to make the decision, the jury itself, as to convict, not to convict, or what to do. But the judge is going to have to make those evidentiary rulings and any legal rulings, and the judge is going to have to make sure that the process runs smoothly, efficiently, and effectively. And having been in the courtroom, I've been in front of every judge, with the exception of one in Erie County over the last 17 years in various capacities, whether it be for a plea hearing, a sentencing, a trial, protection from abuse order violation. The judge has to know the courtroom, has to know the rules of the courtroom. Something as simple that people don't realize is where the parties sit in different proceedings, because that changes, or where they stand. And definitely the rules of evidence and how they apply in the courtroom. And I have all of that to offer from my experience.
Wow, that's a lot. And like I said, this is your second time around. So what is it that you learned from the first time that you ran up until now? Like, is there something like you're doing differently? Or?
I don't know if I'm doing anything differently. I know I'm working just as hard as I did the first time. I think traditionally we've seen individuals usually run twice in Erie County for the judicial position. That's kind of how historically it's just been around here. Last time I ran with individuals that had run twice already. So it was their second time and my first. So I learned it was a good experience, and then I continued to just keep serving Erie County and do the best I can for Erie County in the meantime. And it's been 4 more years in the district attorney's office since then. Wow.
I think like anytime you go through something a first time, the second time around, you just know, like, you know, maybe I could have done this a little bit different or that a little bit different. So are you confident this time around with the knowledge and the know-how? And
I am. I'm feeling very confident this time around with what I did learn the first time around. You know, the things that worked, I'm able to do them again. Just getting out in the community as much as I can, knocking on doors, meeting people, and having a very good group of supporters and advisors in my corner has made a big impact and difference.
Yeah, so we only have a few minutes left. So what is it that you really want the voters to know? You have a couple more minutes that you can talk to the voters and just let them know, like, what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you would want them to know, maybe in addition to what you did last time, or?
Okay. I mean, I guess I just really want the voters to know that my experience is there. It speaks for itself. They can feel free to reach out to me at any time or to my campaign at any time if they want further information. I think reading articles or going back on newscasts as to some of the cases I've handled over the years, I have a lot of experience. It's all directly in the courtroom and dedicated to the safety of Erie County. And I'm ready to start this job from day one.
Well, good. Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been sitting here with Erin Connelly. She's running for judge. And like she said, if there's any questions that anybody may have, you can reach out to her camp. If you'd like to see her on a campaign trail, like, where can we find you? Do you have anything else coming up?
We don't have any other events scheduled, but we are out and about every day, knocking on doors in different areas. So reach out to us and we'll come find you.
Okay. Well, that's all I have. Like I said, if there's one last thing you'd like to tell them, get out to vote, and what are the particulars?
So important that everybody gets out to vote on November 5th. Exercise your right to vote.
It's important. So thank you all for watching, and we hope to see you at the polls on November 5th.
Yep.
And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia.
Great talking to you.
Thank you.